crashes, defective products, dangerous drugs, injuries, and abuse. Across the state of Alabama, the attorneys, proudly sponsored by the law firm of Hollis, Wright, are here to serve you. Your tough legal questions answered by our experts with host David Lamb and the attorneys of Hollis, Wright.
Good evening and welcome to the attorneys. Thank you for joining us for the next half hour. We have an interesting panel here to discuss a legal matter that we think will be of interest to you. Stick around for those details coming up to kind of lay out the groundwork for this. But just want to remind you here on the front end, there are ways you can join our conversation. That information at the bottom of your screen all throughout the program tonight. And Hollis Wright makes available attorneys each and every Sunday night during the attorneys, this show, for attorneys that are standing by live to speak with you. 844-LAW-TALK is the number to know, 844-LAW-TALK if you want to take advantage of that opportunity to speak with an attorney from Hollis Wright. Josh Wright is the managing partner of Hollis Wright, and he's going to lead this conversation. You doing okay?
I don't know if I actually lead it or I just kind of follow the guy that leads it, because you're pretty good at this stuff. You've been doing this a long time.
We've done about 500 plus shows,
yes.
So I think we've got a groove here.
You know, it is interesting. I recognize in preparation for this show, we have never done a show with the Volunteer Lawyers Birmingham program. And this is going to be a really interesting show because, you know, and I was talking, we've got a great guest today, and I'll introduce him in just a second. But let me just say this. The Volunteer Lawyers program is a super important component to our community. There are a lot of cases. I'll give a couple examples. Landlord-tenant is one really good example, where there are landlord-tenant related issues in the city of Birmingham and in the surrounding area where it's going to be tough to find a lawyer that's going to handle that case, because it's going to be difficult for some people to be able to pay for a lawyer and for the lawyer to make money. And so there are services through the Birmingham Bar, the State Bar Association, and also Volunteer Lawyers Birmingham that allows you to get an expert to represent you, to lead, guide, and direct you through a time that's really important to you. And so it's interesting that we've been doing this as long as we have over 500 shows, and we haven't done a show like this. So Graham Hewitt's on today, and we're going to do this show, and it's going to be a lot of fun, actually. So welcome aboard, and glad to have you.
Good. Thank you,
Graham, tell us just a little bit about, tell us first about Volunteer Lawyers Birmingham, kind of how it works, and in general terms what it is, because it's such a great service to the community.
Yeah, thanks. Volunteer Lawyers Birmingham, we are a 501c3 nonprofit law firm, and what we do is we provide free legal assistance to low-income residents in the Birmingham, Jefferson County area. We do civil and domestic work, so that's going to be, like you'd mentioned, landlord-tenant. We also do a lot with financial issues like your garnishments, liens, bankruptcy. We do a lot on the domestic side, so that's going to be divorces, child custody, domestic violence. We can't do everything, so we don't do any personal injury. We don't do any workers' compensation or Social Security, anything where there's a statutory fee built in for the attorneys. We don't take those, but everything else, as long as the issue qualifies and as long as the client is financially qualified, then we can see them. And so what happens when what we do is they call in. Right now we're doing everything virtually. We're adopting a hybrid model eventually as we get back into person. But what you do is you call in and we put you through an intake process. It's about 10 minutes or so, name, address, the common things that you'll do, and then also some financial questions and some legal questions about your issue. After that, one of our staff attorneys will call you back to get a little bit more information about your situation, let you know the other documents you might need. If it's a landlord-tenant issue, we're going to want to look at the lease. Mm-hmm. If it's anything related to financial, we might want to see what the bills are or something along those lines. So they'll tell you all that, and at the same time schedule you for your bigger meeting, which is going to be with one of our volunteer attorneys. Now, we've got volunteers from all across the city. They're at your big firms, your small firms, your solo practitioners, and they come and they volunteer for a couple hours at a time, and they represent these clients. And so they'll meet with you, and during your initial meeting, you'll go over everything with your issue. And at the end of that meeting, will be determined on what the next step is, whether it's to write a letter, whether it's to file a lawsuit, whether it's to respond to a lawsuit, whether it's to make a phone call, or it might just be that it's a good day for the client and there's no action needed. So, and after that, if the client needs more help, they can come back to us, or in some cases, we'll have that volunteer represent them throughout.
And you hit on a really important thing, which is you're bringing in, with VLP, you're bringing in experts in certain areas that are volunteering their time. And these are practicing lawyers that may be at firms that are for-profit businesses, and they're coming to help a 501c3. Talk just a little bit about that, because I know that's kind of an important component of what helps y'all run.
Yeah, no, it's I mean, it would not be possible without our volunteers, and it really is a statement about the legal community here in Birmingham that we have so many attorneys that are willing to donate their time. I mean, we have some attorneys that volunteer up to 30 hours during the year, which is a lot of time, especially when they could be billing and everything else. And so it's really a testament to the legal community here, because in the state of Alabama, we don't have there's no minimum amount of hours that you need for pro bono work, but every lawyer should provide that pro bono service, and so we are that conduit for the attorneys to do that. And so depending on what the attorney's availability is, we'll work around it. If you can give us an hour, great. If you can give us more than that, we'll work with that. So just whatever we can get.
Yeah, this is you know, we've talked about this. We do this show as a mechanism to give back to the community. I kind of almost look at it as our pro bono service to the community, to assist the community to learn, if nothing else, what kind of lawyer do I need under certain circumstances, right? And what Graham is committed his practice to is doing just that on a daily basis for individuals that need help, where he's also organizing, getting experts in landlord-tenant, getting experts in domestic, getting experts, I mean, all the issues that he talked about. It's such an important service, because without a service like this, there are very few places where you can go and find a lawyer that's going to represent you in these circumstances. So it's super important to have a guy like Graham running an entity like VLP, or VLB rather, to be successful.
Yeah, helps folks so they don't fall through the cracks.
Yep.
A question we got here, in case somebody watching wants to get in touch with you. So how does the process start? How do they get this underway?
Well, a couple ways. Easiest way is to call us. We start doing appointments Monday through Friday. We're open during normal business hours. Call in. We'll get you that intake set up. We also have some areas on our website where you can kind of submit your information. It's not going to be the full intake through the website, but at least it'll get you where we can get back in touch with you. So those are the main ways that you can get in touch with us. In the future, once things are a little bit more open again, we'll be down at the courthouse a little bit more regularly to help out with people. And we're also looking at doing some more community events where we can be out in the community and not just in one central location.
Do you find that a lot of times you're using the district courts in order to resolve some of these cases?
Yes, a lot of these are ones that are going to go to trial or a hearing. So we'd always like to get things solved before that, but sometimes there needs to be a little bit more involved, especially on the financial end of things. Yeah. If it's a large creditor or something, those are probably going to end up in front of a judge. But we work regularly with the judges. We're also working on some mediation programs, so hopefully get some of these taken care of before they get before the judges.
Yeah, so I know we're getting ready to go to break. When we come back, I want to unwrap a little bit more about some of the example cases that they're working on. And I also want to talk to some of the lawyers that are watching. I know a lot of lawyers actually do watch the show on Sunday nights. I want to talk about ways they can get involved with Graham's group and assist and help other people throughout the community.
All right, we'll pick up right there. We're stepping aside. Stay tuned. More of the attorneys coming right up. I'm Josh Wright with the law firm of Hollis, Wright, a personal injury law firm, and thank you for watching The Attorneys. We hope you, a friend, or a loved one never needs legal counsel for a case. But if you do, the goal of the show is simple: to provide answers and legal counsel when you need it the most. Your call to the show is free and off air. So if you have questions specific to the show or related to other accident or injury topics, call, email, or text us. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, or go to hollis-wright.com and click on the Contact Us button. We know your time is valuable, so thank you for spending it with us and watching The Attorneys.
The Attorneys, proudly sponsored by the law firm of Hollis Wright, are here to serve you.
When we started the show 8 years ago, my hope was we would be able to do what we do best, which is to help people answer real-world legal-related issues they have in their life.
People oftentimes are confronting various legal issues and problems in their lives that range across the gamut of legal practice areas. Bankruptcy, criminal law, family law, just to name a few. And to be able to have a 30-minute platform or format to where we can just cover various legal topics once a week, that's obviously the primary focus of the show.
That we would be able to use the resources of the many lawyers we have at this law firm to create a plan that had a lasting impact that also gave back to the community at the same time. And I think we've done just that with the attorneys.
Welcome back into the attorneys. Hey, if you want to take advantage of the opportunity to speak with attorneys from Hollis, Wright, 844-LAW-TALK. 844-LAW-TALK is the number to know. Josh Wright, you touched on something earlier on the vast number of different topics we've discussed. An interesting thing about the website, hollis-wright.com, if you go there, click on the attorneys link, you can search for shows that are done on specific topics. So if you want to learn more about these folks, once this is on the website, you can watch the show or whatever really subject matter or topic that matters most to you, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that really is a great point. It's got a search engine that allows you to do just that. We've got Melissa Beatty as our marketing director for our law firm and been with us for years, and she does a really good job of we've created a YouTube channel that if you click on the link on the website, it's going to take you to that YouTube channel where it's searchable. So if you've got issues about landlord-tenant, you've got issues about Volunteer Lawyers Birmingham, you got issues related to a car accident or how to manage a divorce, you can watch a 30-minute show for free. And it's a great service, and so she does a really good job creating the social media footprint that we have, but specifically the YouTube footprint that I think helps. All right, good stuff. I like that, and we don't really promote that, and we should do a better job of promoting that because it's a good service too. All right, so talk a little bit, Graham, about how are you guys funded? Because I know you're doing this, to the clients, other than maybe having to pay a filing fee, pretty much for free for them. So how are you guys funded?
Right. Just to kind of reiterate what you said, all of our services are free. To speak with an attorney, you're not going to be charged. You will be responsible for your filing fees. So if there's a fee associated with filing a complaint or anything like that, the client is responsible. However, there are some ways to kind of delay that or postpone that. We'll explain that during your consultation about what exactly would be needed for you to file. But our funding, we get a lot of generous support from, we have several granting organizations that provide us with help. Alabama Civil Justice Foundation, Alabama Law Foundation, Legal Services Alabama are some of our supporters, and then we also have a lot of support from from corporations around town and law firms, and a lot of private support from attorneys and just from individuals. We used to do a big fundraiser every fall. Unfortunately, that's been on hiatus during COVID. We'll hope to have that in the future, but looking for some ways to obtain some additional funding for this.
Yeah, and so the number of lawyers that you've got that are experts in certain areas that come in, it has to be a significant number of folks that may roll in and roll out that are experts in certain areas. I mean, I know you see a lot of different lawyers yearly.
We do. We see a little bit more than 600, and that really goes to the strength of our staff. We've got a great staff that has really developed a lot of knowledge in this area. Our managing attorney has over 25 years of experience in a variety of civil issues. So she is our subject matter expert and can really help with the attorneys and help them, kind of mentor them through some cases. But also, we have so many regular volunteers that they might be a securities lawyer or something in their private practice, but then they're also a landlord-tenant expert on the side just from working with us.
What do you see the most? What type of issues come up the most? And it may be a series of issues that are all kind of similar to one another, but what do you see most often?
So it's kind of split between three main areas. We have our financial issues, our housing issues, and our family issues. Our financial issues are going to be your garnishment, your liens, bankruptcies. Our housing are going to be unlivable conditions, if doors broken or AC doesn't work or heat doesn't work, water's off, those types of things, evictions, foreclosures, and then we see on the family side, the divorces, child custody, alimony. We also do see some probate issues. Those are going to be your issues with your wills and your estates. And then we also we have some specialty programs. We help out veteran clients, and then we also have a specialty program just for our citizens that are experiencing homelessness. And one of the big issues there is getting an ID, and so kind of clearing some of the roadblocks that they have in their past to get them so that they're eligible for an ID. So that because once they get their ID, then they've got kind of a pathway to get housing and employment and get back on the right track.
You know, David, this is really, this area that Graham is in is really kind of a calling. It's not a people don't go to law school and say, this is what I'm going to do. It's kind of a calling in your heart that you want to help other people. And it really is one of the truest examples of being a true lawyer, which is, you know, a lawyer is a counselor to assist and help others that need help when they need it the most. And we use that as one of our mottos at our law firm. We've been doing it with our television show for a long period of time, but this is the greatest example of it that you could ever imagine, that you've got lawyers out there that are going to get you to the right person. They're going to allow you to be represented for free, and they're going to care about your issue and protect you and walk you through the process. It's really an admirable way to practice law. It's a neat thing.
It is. If somebody's watching tonight and they have a court case maybe tomorrow or this coming week, how much lead time do you guys need before you can help?
We'd always like as much as possible, and any attorney is going to want that. You know, we will do whatever we can to help you out. We can't, you know, guarantee that we'll be able to get to you before your court case, depending on what it is. Now, for anything like a domestic violence or an imminent eviction, we are going to do, if there's a little bit, you know, kind of a personal safety issue on the line, we're going to do what we can to make sure that we get you help or get you to the right place. We work a lot with the YWCA, with our domestic violence victims. So just making sure that we can keep people safe is one of our number one priorities. But even if we can't necessarily get you with an attorney in time for your case, we can get you ready to go before the judge and say, Judge, this is what's going on here. Or Judge, I just started in this program yesterday. Can I get a little bit more time? And sometimes the judges will work with them on that.
How, if you're a lawyer watching this show, how do they get involved? Let's say they want to give some pro bono or low bono time. How do they get involved?
So you can either call us. We have a volunteer coordinator on staff, Michelle Horton-Brown. You can contact us either through the website or our phone number. Another way, if you're at a firm, talk to your firm. Your firm might have some pro bono practices, especially if you're a younger associate. I would recommend going to a pro bono partner or something to see what's going on. Your firm may already have some efforts that they're involved with, and so it might just be that the communication hadn't gotten to you yet, but reach out. We are always at bar events and everything else, so you know, always happy to take on more volunteers.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive what you guys have done. You're housed in the Birmingham bar, is that right?
We are.
And you've got, I know there's not a direct affiliation, but indirectly you guys kind of work with one another to assist people, right?
We do work with the bar on a lot of things, both with them sending clients our way, and any information that or any cases that we can't handle, they have a referral line there that we send them to. But we work a lot with the Birmingham Bar Association on just a different way, and with their sections especially, because their sections are where they have, you know, your probate attorneys or your employment attorneys, and so getting involved with those sections so that we can get some of those experts out there to volunteer with us.
Yeah, and you know, the Birmingham Bar does a really good job. I mean, this isn't a show about the Birmingham Bar, but they do a really good job too of placing for those people that have cases where there's going to be a statutory fee or there's going to be a fee in a contractual arrangement like a contingency fee. They do a really good job of pushing those individuals out to law firms that have a skill set too. So they kind of work hand in hand with them one way or the other.
All right, we are stepping aside. Our final break of the evening. Stay tuned. We're coming right back with more of The Attorneys after this quick break.
I'm attorney Bobby Bell with Hollis, Wright Law Firm. In today's world, social media is all around us. It is common for many people to post on social media regarding their life and activities on a daily basis. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and similar social media are a great way to stay connected to others and to share your experiences and thoughts. Some seemingly innocent social media posts, however, can have devastating effects if you're involved in litigation, especially in a personal injury claim, a contested divorce, or a child custody battle. Courts regularly allow adverse parties access to the other side's social media accounts, allowing relevant posts to be presented as evidence. These rules have allowed social media to become a hotbed of information in the litigation world. In fact, we are seeing more and more preservation orders issued by courts requiring you to collect and save any and all social media activity. Therefore, it's advisable that even before there's litigation, lawyers should advise their clients that social media content may be discoverable. Here are a few helpful tips. 1. Do not post anything about the case. This includes posts regarding conversations or meetings with your attorneys, remarks about your injuries, negative remarks about the opposing party. Do not post anything you would not want read in open court to either a judge or jury. 2. Avoid new friend requests from people you do not know. Many law firms and insurance offices may attempt to have employees follow you on social media in an attempt to gain information. 3. Limit adding new photos, check-ins, photo tagging, etc. Seemingly innocent posts may be used against you. Regular check-ins at restaurants, parties, or other events with friends can cast doubt on any claims of loss of enjoyment of life, pain and suffering, or emotional distress, since you appear to be living life as usual. 4. Increase your privacy settings. Many social media sites frequently update and change their privacy settings. In the litigation context, it is possible you may have to preserve and present anything you posted. Therefore, we encourage you to be smart and careful when using social media. Please remember, your call, email, or text to the attorneys is free. All of us at Hollis Wright want to help answer your questions on real issues you face. Remember, a competent lawyer will respond to every question you send in. That's our pledge and promise to you. Thanks for watching The Attorneys on WETM 13.
Welcome back into The Attorneys. Right about 6 minutes remaining in the show. 844 Law Talk if you want to take advantage of the opportunity to speak with some attorneys from Hollis Wright who are standing by live just to speak with you. Back to our conversation. I'm curious, you guys have done and are doing incredible work. What does the future look like? What are areas of opportunities and kind of developments you all would like to expand upon?
So we're going to continue with our current services, no change in that, but we're going to add on some programs in the future. One of the things that we're working on right now is a community legal education program. And what that is going to do is that's going to provide our clients or potential clients with the chance to get some legal information maybe before they have a problem. So in an area like landlord-tenant law, in Alabama, there are very few reasons that you can withhold your rent. So withholding your rent is going to get you evicted. So instead of seeing the people after they've already been evicted, maybe getting out in front of these things so that we can provide a little bit more education, teach people some things that they might not otherwise know to keep them from getting in trouble or getting that letter from their landlord or something like that. And so really kind of leveling the playing field, because that landlord or that creditor, they've got somebody on retainer that they can call and ask questions. Our low-income neighbors, they don't have that same ability. So kind of getting that type of service out to people, and then what we'll do is we'll pair that with an actual clinic. So if you come to our landlord-tenant session, we'll review the lease with you a few days later in that clinic setting, or if you come to our wills and estates, a few days later we'll be able to do a will for you. So kind of doing a education session along with the actual clinic, and that's a program that, like I said, it's in the works. I want to thank the Alabama Civil Justice Foundation for helping support that program and getting it off the ground, and so stay tuned. We'll have some more information about that coming up. We're looking at the library as a potential host for these sessions, and also doing them virtually.
Give us some examples of a success story of what a typical example would be for you guys, because I think that gives the viewing audience some level of context of why this system works for you.
Yeah, so last year, kind of towards the beginning of the pandemic, one that always comes to mind is we had a client that was a grocery store worker, and so she was right there on the front line, having to go to work every single day. The problem was she had an old garnishment from a debt that wasn't hers. That was just, they were taking a ton of her paycheck. She couldn't afford to get things for her kids. They were just taking way too much money off the top. And so we were able to get her representation in court, and not only did they dismiss the debt that she had, but the company had to repay her for the money that they had unfairly garnished. And so she was able to, get a little bit more money, improve her situation in life, just because she was able to make that phone call, come and meet with us. The next thing we know, she's got an attorney in court with her.
What you talked a little bit about your vision for the future has a little more proactivity as opposed to reactiveness. So a little education on the front end that may help some of these folks that are using the program not get involved in the issues in the first place. Talk just a little bit about, like, if someone finds themselves in a circumstance, whether it's a landlord-tenant or it's domestic violence, do you recommend that they try and maintain as much information and documentation as they can so that when they come to you, they've got what they need?
Yeah, the more information, the better. In like a landlord-tenant situation, take pictures of what the issues are. You know, if you got mold, take pictures of the mold. If you got, you know, other issues like that, just take pictures. Any documentation you have. So if it's something for a debt, you know, any of your financial stuff related to that. For something like a bankruptcy, we need a lot of information. We're going to need credit reports. We're going to need bank statements. We're going to need pay stubs. We're going to need all that stuff. But you know, for a landlord-tenant, we want a lease. So any information you can have, and you know, as far as and keeping up with that too. So if more stuff comes down, you know, if you are a tenant and your landlord's been harassing you and nailing notes to your door, bring us all those notes. Don't just throw those away. So anything that you have related to it, bring that with you.
And as far as the process, can they find you guys online? I mean, how does someone make an appointment if they want to make an appointment?
So we are online. We are VLBham.org. That's V as in volunteer, L as in lawyer, B as in Birmingham. And also our phone number is 205-250-5198. And like I said, we're open normal business hours, 8:30 to 5 every single day, Monday through Friday. If you leave us a message, we'll get back to you. So anytime that you can call in during the week, please give us a call.
You're doing good work, I'll tell you that.
Absolutely, and I'm sure Melissa will have all that information all over our social media and everywhere. Time it up for a final thought. Graham, if you would, you go first, please.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of reiterate what I've been saying. If you have any kind of situation, give us a call as quick as you can, and we'll start trying to get you the help that you need. And just don't hesitate to reach out. You know, you talk to us. The worst thing we can say is that we can't help you right now, or you don't have an issue. But we'd like to try to get it before your day is in court.
Yeah, you know, David, the importance of a program like this is really tough to underscore enough. It helps members of the community that don't have the ability to get legal services for some other reason. The example grocery store worker that we were discussing earlier is a super good example of sometimes people feel like they're upside down and they don't have the ability to use the legal system to benefit themselves, even though they know that it's not their fault in the first place and they didn't create the circumstance. And you want someone that's going to advocate for you. And I credit a lot for the state bar and the local bar for encouraging people to give pro bono time like this that are experts in these areas. I'll tell you this, the amount of pro bono work that we do with this show, I have a tremendous feeling of reward, as I know is done at VLB, when you help someone that you know needs help. Absolutely. So I would encourage people, if it can help them, to jump on it and go use their services. And we appreciate you being on.
Job.
You're doing great work.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Fantastic. Really interesting show. Appreciate you being with us tonight, and take advantage of this opportunity if you need to. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time on The Attorneys.
Thanks for watching The Attorneys, sponsored by Hollis Wright.